I have one. And it is about Great Uncle Donnie. Afghanistan 2010. Deployed in the Horn. 6 months into my first tour. On a dismounted patrol. Suddenly boom. RPG impacts over us. We start taking fire from RPKs and RPDs. We deploy and take up firing positions. I am firing my saw. Then I see a flash of light. Then I go deaf and blind after the flash and boom. A RPG exploded right in front of me. I am breathing heavily on my back when I regain my sight. Bleeding from several parts in my body. It fucking hurts, man. All I can think about is wanting to sleep the pain off. I feel like someone just punched me in the chest. I open my eyes and see a man wearing an old helmet. He is looking me over, and then yells,
"I got you, buddy."
I feel myself being picked up on my feet and he walks me back to our MRAP. He puts me down on the ramp and disappears. I wake up in a field hospital. They got most of the shrapnel out of me. My command team come in and tells me the story when I apparently got up in the middle of the firefight, held out an arm and staggered like I was a zombie all the way to the medical MRAP. I was medically discharged from Army in mid-2011. At home helping grandparents rearrange and organize. Going through old boxes of photos. I freeze at one photo. It is a photo of great-grandma, great-grandpa, with great-aunt Minnie, great-aunt Stella, great-uncle Paul, great-uncle Bob, grandpa Mike, and a soldier in uniform. The soldier. It was the man who saved my life in Afghanistan. Grandpa Mike tells me about Great-Uncle Donnie. Great-Uncle Donnie was in the 32nd Infantry Division. He died July 27, 1942 on Papua New Guinea. He was posthumously given the Bronze Star with Valor for braving heavy enemy fire to save a wounded comrade. After dropping off the wounded man, he turned right around to rejoin the fight. He didn't make one step forward before he was hit in the chest by a bullet.
Okay guys, this happened to me last night and I haven't been able to sleep since. I was hesitant to post about it on X because I've been looking for some sort of explanation or something. Trying to see what it was I saw outside now that it's light out, but I cannot and it's scaring the shit out of me. I usually just frequent B, Mull, and Lit, so excuse me if this is something you guys have some explanation for already. Please just tell me there's a realistic explanation for this and that what happened is common. I'm fucking terrified. Get home from work, it's almost midnight. When the door opens, the home security thing does a high-pitched beep 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 chime. In my kitchen eating a late dinner before going to bed. Hear a door open and then the home thing go beep beep beep, but it definitely sounds like it came from outside. I'm sitting right by the back door, so I go check the front door. The front door has a screen door, a wood door that leads to a small entry room, then a second door inside that leads up the stairs into the house. These are loud-ass old doors. Did not hear screen door open, did not hear main door close, did not hear second door open. The door is still double locked, no other doors are opened, nobody is standing outside. Okay, maybe it was the neighbor's door, maybe they have the same system. Hear it again, sounds like it's coming from outside the front of the house. Look out the window. Looks like a deer is crawling on the yard with its belly to the ground. Stands up on its back legs. Makes the door opening beeping sound with its head raised up to the air. It is not a deer. It looks like a guy with deer legs, too dark to see what the fuck is going on.
I'm home.
What the fuck? GIF.
I'm home.
Sounds like a dog barking, I'm home, while trying to vomit. Starts galloping away across the street. Beep beep beep. Starts shaking. It's raining out at the time, the thing opens its mouth and holds its head up. Thing stars digging furiously at the grass across the street with its front arms legs things. Puts head near the hole, like it's looking inside. Keeps walking down street.
Beep, 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 I'm home.
Puts head back to drink rain. Digs at ground. Keeps doing this down the block before galloping away down Division away from the city. I do not live in a rural area. The deer population typically stays down towards Melrose Park off of Thatcher by the river. I live just outside of Chicago, literally a block west of the city limits. I have never seen anything like this or heard of anything like this. I am fucking shitting myself right now. I was going to post this story on B, but I avoid B like the plague unless I'm bored. It's summertime and I just get memed on left and right, and this seems more paranormal than anything else. I've been Googling for similar stories and trying to find some sort of typical scientific explanation for this sort of thing, but I can't even find any sort of similar story. My instinct is crazy homeless guy, but its legs bent back like a deer's, it was not built like a human being, and it was definitely not wearing clothes and looked like it had a full body of fur. I don't use drugs, I was not tired, I was 100% lucid and I'm fucking horrified. Please say there is a common explanation for shit like this.
Long time lurker, first time poster on /x/. I'm generally a/k/fag. A few years ago we had decoration day up at the old family land, and I think I had a Bigfoot encounter maybe? Old Appalachian thing where it's kind of a family reunion, but we clean/decorate the graves, have a church service, and cook out all in the cemetery. Family cemetery in the mountains of NC close to the TN border. On very old, American-wise, family land, and there are people from my family dating back to the early 1800s there, along with apparently a number of Cherokee somehow related to us. So here's the short and easy of it. Me and a couple of distant cousins decide to go camping up on a ridge overlooking the farm/cemetery one night, something we do every few years after decoration. Beautiful view with minimal light pollution. All armed because bears are common, and panthers aren't too uncommon to be seen. Everyone falls asleep, except me and a cousin, I'll call him Dale, because we're night shift piles of sticks. In the middle of a conversation he stops, does a double take and stares deadpan down the ridge at the cemetery. Dale squints and mutters,
"What the fuck?
I can't see shit, Captain.jpg.
Anon, there's people in the fucking graveyard, Jesus Christ they're huge."
Wake up the other three, and decide to go investigate. It's a 3/4 mile hike down through the woods through the forest to get the cemetery, and about 10 minutes into it, my hackles raise up. There are no cicadas, no owls, or anything. I feel like I'm being watched. Start to smell something the closer we get to the graveyard. For any medfigs, the closest I can compare it to is finding a dead fat guy decomposed in his trailer in mid-July, and a basement mothballish mildewy smell. It's fucking horrible. Everyone's on edge, but nothing happens the rest of the way down. Dale starts hyperventilating and pointing his SKS to the clearing way across the field behind the house. Something fucking huge sprints fast as shit from behind one of the BAMs to the wood line, 130-ish yards, in seconds. Dale takes a few pot shots at the thing and we hear this squalling kind of like a giant bobcat with his nuts in a vice. Another call similar sounds from behind us in the woods adjacent to the cemetery. Fuck this.jpg. I'm so rattled at this point I just start running to the jeep we rode down the holler in, and we all pile in. The dirt road into the land is about 2 miles of dirt roads hugging the edge of a drop-off and takes you to the main road at the top of the mountain. We're all armed and scared shitless all the way up the driveway, and make it out on the main road, spend the rest of the night at Waffle House. It's anticlimactic, but it was fucking terrifying.
Uncle was dying of cancer. On hospital bed. Doctor said he had 1 day left to live. Sad, go to my room and lock the door. Randomly decide to do a blood sacrifice 19 kilobytes JPG by sacrificing my life for his. Drew a pentagram on a piece of paper and then cut my palm with a knife and soaked the paper with blood. Prayed that my uncle gets better in exchange for my life. Next day uncle makes a miraculous recovery. This was just a coincidence, alright?
Posted this one in a/k/repeat thread ages ago. Story is from an ex-military guy I know from the pub. Pilot flying up in the Northern Territory. Radio into the airstrip, he knows the couple that run it. Says he'll be there in 4 hours, will radio when he's near the airstrip. Gets close to airstrip, radios the couple in. No reply. Circles and tries again, still no reply. Goes to airstrip in the next town over. Tells the lads working there the couple never picked up their radio. They call the police. Police come around to them, they all travel to the airstrip the couple own. Get there about 2 or 3 a.m. The lights in the house are off, but the spotlights are on, some were shining off into the hill. They walk around the side of the house where the dogs are kept. 2 things they notice right away. The dogs are dead, but there was no sign of physical harm on them. They all had looks of terror on their face. It appears they were literally scared to death. Second thing was the side of the house was riddled with bullet holes, but they were fired from the inside out. They go into the house to find the couple dead on the ground with the man's AR-15 in his hand. They had a look of fear and shock on their faces, same as the dogs, and they were said to have died the same way as the dogs. Police radio it in. At dawn most the other police and paramedics get there, and so do some lads from the Air Force. They saw them talking to the police, then came over to the locals and told them to fuck off out of here and don't tell anyone what they saw or may have heard. The guy who told the lad from the PUBL go to was in the US Air Force and was involved with Project Blue Book and other UFO related business. He told him strange lights and other strange events had went down in the area the night of the incident.
Okay. Wow. I didn't know that skinwalkers or goatmen or whatever were a thing, so I always thought I was the only one who'd experienced something like this. Like maybe it was a hallucination or something, but after reading some of these stories, I'm starting to think maybe there's something there. Here's what happened. Few years ago, living with parents. Step out for cigarette at about 2 a.m. Mom hated cigarettes, had to sneak out back by the woods. Smoking, notice my neighbor Sean down at the edge of the woods, looking at me. WTF. Wave at him, he just stands there. Suddenly it's hard to breathe, like the air is thick, kind of humid, I guess, and it smells the way pennies taste. Kick myself for being a scaredy cat. Take a drag from cigarette, smoke gets in my eye. If this has happened to you, you know that it hurts like a bitch. I'm forced to close my eyes and rub them for a few seconds. Look up and Sean is closer to me, like he'd walked from the edge of the forest, but now he's stopped and standing still again. What was he doing in the forest anyway? WTF is going on? He waves, but it's like he's jerking his arm instead of moving it fluidly, like he's not sure what he's doing with it. What the fuck, what the fuck? Put out cigarette without taking eyes off him, back into the door and go in. Shut the door, peek out window. He's staring right the fuck at me, closer to the house, maybe 10 or 15 yards away. Lock door, sprint upstairs. Lock every door in the house, go to double check every door. Double checking basement door, he's standing right outside the window staring at me. His jaw is just kind of drooping. When I look at him he does the jerking wave again. Scream with the force of 1,000 suns. Run upstairs, encounter stepdad, he's like WTF are you screaming for anon? I tell him there's someone outside. He gets his gun and checks. No one there. Ask neighbor about it at dinner one day. He doesn't know what I'm talking about. Fuck skinwalkers.
I live near a pretty big shopping mall. Right outside it is a massive park and many acres of forest which are dotted with lakes and such that are all connected. There was this one pond which was close to the play parks. This pond was fucking massive and they used to let you hire paddle boats until they kept getting sunk. 2 stories for you. Story 1. Be about 7 or 8 years old. Grandparents are playing with me at the play park while my parents do the shopping. I make friends with this boy, can't remember his name so let's call him L. Me and L are on this badass spider web that's around 50 feet high. We're both pansies so we don't ever go above 10 feet. L had a brother who was about 6 but he climbed to the motherfucking top. Shouts to L and tells him there's a monster in the lake. L tells him monsters don't exist despite his brother insisting that there he saw one in the lake. L's brother says it's watching a little boy. Me and L are like whatever and we go on the swings. When my parents finish shopping and are walking me home they see police by the lakeside. Little boy fell in the lake and never resurfaced. Divers and shit searched for him too. Never found anything. Story 2. Be on same lake about 2 years later. On one of the hired paddle boats. Paddling along with my mother and my uncle when we suddenly can't move anymore. Paddle boat makes god awful scraping sound and refused to move. Uncle thought we got caught on some weeds so he sticks his hand in and moves it around. He turns as white as a sheep and tells us to get away from the sides of the boat. We oblige. 10 or 15 minutes later there's a couple big waves right under us, something shoots through the water and nearly capsizes little boat. Uncle rows us back like a fucking Viking. The tour boat guys asked us if we were okay. We said yes, just got a little stuck on something. They refunded us our money and told us not to tell anyone.
Aunt and uncle live in this old terraced house. It's a really old place and on a row that only has about 12 houses on it. Hate going there because it just feels spoopy and I'm only about 9. Go there for cousin's birthday and it's mainly adults. As it gets a bit later the adults sit talking and we kids are watching some cartoon or something in the other part of the room. Start listening to adults' conversations from where I am. Hear uncle talk about how he swears he's seen a woman at the top of the staircase one day and she walked right through him. Immediately I'm terrified and make a note to self to never go upstairs on my own. Few other little oddities like stuff not being where they were left, cold spots, voices, and things like that my aunt mentions. Tune out of the conversation and can't wait to go home. Few months later aunt and uncle take me and cousin away for the weekend. Dad drops me off there. Go in house and start helping with taking bags to the car. Aunt asks me to go to her bedroom with her so she can get some of the others she's packed. Don't want to, but I'm with her so I'll be alright. Nothing happens, bed nicely made, everything where it should be, it's fine. Get in car to leave. Aunt has forgotten something and asks me to go get it. Sure, is it in the passage? I ask with some naivety.
It's just in my bedroom on the dresser.
Pure fucking dread. If I run it'll only take a second. Sprint up the stairs. Start questioning whether or not the bedroom door was closed when we left and spook myself further. Open door and head in. It's fine. Pick up little bag from dresser. Turn around. Look at bed. 4 corners of the blanket have been folded into the middle of the bed. I know for certain that bed was made properly. Hear whispers that I can only describe as like when someone speaks in tongues. Fuck this. Run downstairs. Hear bedroom door slam. Get into car and pretend everything is cool. I was fucking elated when they moved. I hated that house.
Anyone else ever experienced the hairy hand/monopeluda? Be laying down, watching Cartoon Network in my race car bed. This was before Adult Swim ruined became a thing and ruined it. Bed is pushing against corner of the room, so my right side and head face the wall. Feel something slapping against my chest. Look down. This arm emerged from the right side of my bed. It looks like an adult arm molded from soot. It doesn't grab me, just flap around as if feeling for something. Sort of like when you reach under the sofa to reach for the remote. Scream and roll out of bed. Can't feel my legs and I think I peed myself. Begin crawling towards the corridor. Both parents are blocking my way. They're looking at the direction of my bed in total shock. I turn around and see the arm still feeling for something. Dad moves the bed away from the wall. I'm expecting a man to be exposed, and so is my dad as he stares at the empty carpet in awe. Hand just sinks away. I vomit. To this day my dad insists ghosts don't exist. He thinks they're a scam told by people trying to sell something, like services or a movie. He doesn't like me bringing it up either. He really did think a man was under my bed and then now pretends he doesn't remember the whole event. But I knew it happened because I felt that spot where I vomited every day I walked over it. It was very dry with its hay-like texture caused by the vomit. Same spot.
Here's a story that I've never shared before. It's not really paranormal, but it scares the living shit out of me. 17 years old, been smoking weed regularly with a couple of guys from college. I'm from the UK, we start college at 16, for a year now. One of the guys usually drives and we smoke up in this field that's deserted at night. Driver gets a call from someone. He starts freaking out, literally laying on the floor screaming down the phone. Never heard screaming like that before, it was fucking terrifying. He's not even making sense, he's like writhing around on the floor and screaming down the phone. Starts doing this weird fucking laughing, all bug-eyed and weird. Calmly puts his phone in his pocket. Climbs very tall fence for a tennis court. Jumps off, lands on his neck and fucking kills himself. Guy I hung around with every day for a year just UPS and kills himself because of a phone call, and none of us know who it was on the other end. I wish I was making this up, but it fucked me up for a while afterwards. The other guy we were with started using ketamine regularly. We're both 21 now and he's completely screwed in the head. I was on medication for a while afterwards but came off it quickly. The police put it down to a stoned idiot climbing the fence. They interviewed us both once and that was it. I never even heard from his family, they moved out of the county pretty quickly. I still have his younger brother on Facebook. I've buried the memory somewhere in my brain and just try to ignore it, but whenever my phone rings and I don't have the number saved, then I always get a horrible feeling and I never answer. I'm not even explaining how fucking weird this guy was acting when he answered his phone, it was horrible. The fucking noises he was making were so fucking disgusting. I can't even try to explain it because it makes me feel physically sick.
Still have nightmares about this. Grew up in a village called Iam in England, better known as the Plague Village. You can read about it here. The village is surrounded by huge foothills and dense woodland. There is a particularly famous spot outside of the village down an old overgrown path called that was named by the locals the Delve. This is where they would hold the funeral services for the plague victims during the outbreak. It's a huge strangely shaped cave-like thing. When I was a younger me and all my friends were deathly afraid of this place, you would hear stories about floating vicars and ghosts that would follow you home. In the daytime we would go down and explore the area surrounding it and find cow skulls on pikes littered about. One day one of my school friends suggests we man up and go can explore the delve. We all agree and go down about 4 p.m. with a torch. We get there and only 2 of us will actually go inside the cave, me and my friend. 3 other of my friends wait outside. We go in, it feels horribly cold. I felt like I was being watched the whole time. We get to the end of the cave, it's not very deep. My friend finds a small crack that you can squeeze through. He starts to proceed down the narrow space with me following. All of a sudden he screams and runs at me, he drops the torch, I'm stuck in the entrance to the crack while he trying to push his way past me in the complete darkness. We eventually get out and run out of the cave. All other friends decided to fuck off and leave us. We practically run all the way home just as the sun sets. He is still crying as we reach his house. We don't talk about it what happened until the next day at school. He tells me he saw a white face smiling at him in that narrow crack, and that it was coming towards him. Safe to say we never went down there again.
Be Me, 2018. Science teacher. Work at a school in one of the most rural parts of a fairly urban city. Last official event of the year, have this social thing on Saturday night where awards are given and whatnot, runs late. Had some final bullshit admin to deal with, so decide to just stay and do it so I can enjoy my weekend before the 3-day week of nothing. Sit in empty classroom filling out stupid goal sheets and other bullshit for about 45 minutes. Finish up at about 10:30ish, lights out and start heading home. Place is dark and silent, surreal without kids. Get in car, pull out to go home. About to pull onto road when a car goes flying past at like 150 km/h. It's a straight road, so I just dismiss as the local village idiot out LARPing as a race car driver. Check left to see if any of his mates are following him. Standing under the streetlight at the Crossroads about 100 m away is a figure about 8 to 10 feet tall, black as the darkness behind it. It's moving in a way that I can only describe as heavy, rapid breathing, as if it's just been sprinting. Its head is emitting an orange light. Fumble for my phone to try get a pic, but it turns and runs back the way it came from. Gone before I could even open the camera. Go home thinking about it but dismiss it as tiredness and a tree branch or something. Had almost forgotten about it till now. Never seen shit like this before or again.
I've been looking for this kind of thread for a while. I don't roam/x/ but I might need some answers. Go hiking with my dad and my soon-to-be brother-in-law. Pretty remote area near a mountain pass. Start hiking, ours is the only car parked there. Route is pretty hard, steep and full of rock areas. Smell like metal from time to time, same smell as when you smell house keys. Stop to have a snack. Route is 6 hours long, we're pretty much halfway done. Start walking again. Thick fog starts coming down the mountains and descending towards us. Decide to call it quits BC, we don't want to be one of those retarded hikers that need rescue. Hear screams. Not actual screams, it sounds like a mix between a man screaming and a truck horn, I wouldn't know how to describe it better. Stop and look at each other. Brother-in-law, who is a bit ahead, is looking towards a rock formation about 50 meters behind me. Tall man standing on a rock, looks like he's all dressed in a brilliant black coat. Standing as if when a goat stands on an almost vertical rock, but makes no sense in this case. Kinda looks like he doesn't have a neck. Opens his mouth and same scream/horn again. We're shocked, don't know what to make out from this. Screams again and slowly starts raising his arm pointing at something on a rock next to him. GTFO and start coming back. We heard the same noise a few times, sometimes from behind, sometimes coming from right next to us, sometimes in front of us. Might be the sound echoing, but I have the feeling whatever it is, it's following us at incredible speed. Like we're almost sprinting down the mountain, and it sounds like he's outrunning us. Get back to the car in record time. Look back one last time. Can make out a couple of dark shades moving at the top of the mountain, but I'm not sure if I'm imagining things, might be just trees. So WTF was that? Post any questions you might need answers to get more info.
Be me 10 years ago. Waiting for last train home around 1 a.m. Sunday night. Train arrives. Look right to the rest of the train while getting on the last wagon. See no one but a single other girl getting on the train. Girls seem to look exactly like me. Get in train, sit down slightly appalled. Wagon I'm in is completely empty. 30 minutes until the next stop. No reason to be moving inside the train. Doors to the other wagon opens. 3 people enter my wagon. The girl in the center accompanied by 2 men. Where did these men come from? Analyze the girl subtly. She looks exactly like me, same clothes, same boots, same facial features, and long brown curly hair. Clone.jpg. They avoid eye contact as if I didn't exist and stoically keep walking towards the very back end of the train. Why would they go all the way to the last bit? Nothing there but a very small hall and exit door. Freak out and start chanting Hindu prayers in my head. 15 minutes pass, 30 seconds before the stop. Stand up and walk towards the very back where those 3 went. There's no one there. Am I fucking hallucinating? Get off train. Cabs in queue. Bad feeling about the first cab, took the second one. Tell the cab driver WTF just happened, he didn't charge me for the ride. Cab driver is a local, adds that he never saw the other cab before. 2 weeks later. Read in the papers that a man has been caught, accused of driving around in a fake cab and linked to the disappearance of young women. Photo in papers was the cab from 2 weeks ago. 8 years later. Find random article about seeing your doppelganger is an extremely negative omen of death.
Usually, I am a very skeptical person who does not believe in the supernatural. But I simply don't have an explanation for what happened to me, and it fills me with sickening terror when I think of it again. Be me, young teenager on holiday at a private villa in Italy. My stepdad at the time was quite wealthy. An old and flat house in the middle of nowhere. Wake up in the middle of the night suddenly and for no reason, filled with dread. Luckily my brother was sleeping in the same room as me, so I wasn't so afraid of the dark at the time. Impossible to go back to sleep, so decide to do some reading. Walked out and into the living room and sat on the sofa to read, feeling watched the entire time. Typical creepy old room with a grandfather clock that would tick-tock in the background. After a while I moved back to the bedroom to try and sleep again. Standing facing my bed, with my back towards the open door, with the pitch-dark living room behind it. Suddenly I hear and feel someone literally sprinting in the living room. Like, the sound of heavy and bare feet running along the wooden floor from the center of the room in a straight line towards my back. I was frozen, and it only took about a second before the running stopped to a halt about 2 feet behind me. And I could literally feel the air move like you do when something suddenly comes to a stop and leaves some momentum still in the atmosphere. I could literally feel how tall the thing was from this air, and together with the weight of the running I could guess that it had the form of a young guy. Instantly turned to see an empty room. Basically shit myself, and luckily still managed to get some sleep that night only because my brother was sleeping next to me. To this day I can replay in my mind the vivid noise of bare feet running towards me in a frantic sprint, and get chills up my spine. Not a supernatural person at all really, but this got me.
Be hiking in Montana with a few friends. Rode our dirt bikes out to the middle of nowhere to find some good hunting area. Have FNP-45 with 15 rounds of Godly Fury and 2 backup magazines, and also have a Ithaca Model 37,5 shot with a 18-inch rifled barrel on my back. Friends both have Rs and 44 mag revolvers. Be about 15 m apart walking in a dingle file line, take lead. Find a good spot to have some lunch. Be eating a power bar and some Chex Mix. Fuck, I have to piss. BRB guys. Wander into the woods 20 m. Find a good tree to mark my territory. Almost done pissan. All of the sudden, holy fuck, a deer. Big doe runs right past me. It's alone. Hear something else coming. Probably a wolf. We were in pretty dense woods, so it's not uncommon for wolves to hunt alone and lead a deer to its pack. Look around, pissan tree. Drop a load in my pants as I see a mammoth grizzly sniffing not 5 m from my pissan tree. Throw a rock off in the opposite direction. Pooh looks and wanders a few feet that way. Pull my cock back in my pants and unholster my FNP. Back away from grizzly with my gun trained on him. Step on branch. Grizzly stares me down. He takes a couple steps. Stands on hind legs and lets out his war cry. Pull my fucking trigger so fast it felt like there weren't enough bullets. Work the mag release, change. Empty another. Grizzly is down on 4 now, stumbling towards me. One more mag, unload the last 15. Grizzly lays down and dies. Friends come running with their AR-15s. We roll Pooh over. His whole chest is a torn, mangled mess. Well, fuck, I get a new rug. Take to game wardens and measures 9 foot tall, 1,117 pounds. He asks who is the he-man that shot Pooh 45 times. LOL me. Great day.
I've had some bad ones. Wake up in the middle of the night. Can't move. There's a conversation going on in my room. Too scared to open eyes. Voices are talking about ghosts. I'm still scared but beginning to drift back to sleep. Suddenly I hear.
What about you, Anon? Do you believe in ghosts? Why don't you open your eyes and find out?
At this point I'm shitting myself with fear. Voices start to giggle softly as I lose consciousness. I think I got so scared that I fainted while I was paralyzed. I had experienced sleep paralysis before, but it was the first time I had hallucinations. I was young too and didn't understand what was happening. It was horrible.
The only one true supernatural, magical experience I've ever had in my life. Be me, 7 or 8 years old. Living in Germany. US Air Force dad, local mom. Parents decide to take day trip to go hiking in the Black Forest. Halfway down the trail. Rest area. Parents admire the scenery, take pictures, do touristy shit. I play with some other kids for a while. My dumb ass decides to wander off into the woods. Walk about 10 minutes, find clearing. Look back and can't find trail. Panic. Keep walking like a dumbass. Feels like hours have gone by. The forest changes. Things become still and hesitant. Like an expectation. The light changes, becomes golden and soft. Birds stop. Insects stop. A woman steps out of the woods. But not really a woman. Her skin is wood, like burnished oak. No mouth, no nose. But wide yellow eyes like owl eyes. Hair is moss. Not like moss, actual moss. Doesn't look like a woman really, it looks like a tree. But its presence was the most feminine aura I've ever felt in my life. It's peaceful and beautiful beyond description. She takes me by the hand. Her wood skin is warm and solid. like a log that's been laying in the sun. She leads me back to the trail. I've been gone no more than 15 minutes. She pats my head and disappears into the woods. Parents ask if I had fun playing with the other kids.